Hey folks, my guest today is Phani Sama. He's one of the founders of BIP.so. Prior to BIP, he founded redbus.com, the world's largest online bus ticketing company with operations in 6 countries and sales of over $1 billion. After exiting that company, he co-founded another one and worked for the government as a chief innovative officer for the government of Telangana, India. He's also a young global leader, YGL, at the World Economic Forum, and has received the Fortune 40 Under 40 award twice. He serves on the board of T-Works, India's largest hardware prototyping center, but again, today focused on BIPSO, which is a workspace for build in public teams. Fani, you ready to take us to the top?
Yes, yes. Thanks, Nathan.
Okay, bet. So
All set.
what does workspace mean? What do you mean by that?
Okay, so it's a space, it's a document and task management tool.
I see. Okay, got it. So folks are and is it for a specific team, engineers, marketers, or everybody?
It's for everybody. It's for
Everybody.
people building together. It's for the team. Yeah.
Okay. And so walk me through, you have a lot of experience with pricing because of your bus company, over $1 billion in sales. So how do you price BIPSO? Is it per seat or something else?
Okay, so basically, BIP is a social workspace. So what we are doing is, basically, we're building it for the future of work, and we think that the future of work is changing rapidly. Until now, people build as teams, full-time employees, but in future, people also engage outsiders, freelancers, because the best ideas are outside the team, and
Mhm.
people outside are also willing to engage in different companies. So BIP actually is a tool that enables that to happen. So how it makes that happen is, let's take, we have a workspace like Notion. On BIP selectively, BIP is like Notion. It has documents and it has task management.
But Fani,
Uh,
my question was on pricing. So
yes.
what do you charge on average per month?
Okay. So right now we haven't figured out pricing yet.
Oh, sorry, you guys
But
pre-revenue?
Yeah, pre-revenue. But what
Okay,
I wanted to say is the pricing cannot be per seat because it engages a larger audience. So it probably won't be per seat.
understood. So let's
Yeah.
walk through the process of building a wait list and building demand, right? Before I do that, though, obviously you're pre-revenue. How much of your own money have you invested so far in the company?
So we have a burn of about 20K per month. So I would have spent about less than 200K so far. Yeah.
Does that make you nervous spending, 200K before you have your first customer?
No, no, no. Because we are seeing some good adoption. We're seeing traction.
And what does
Some
that mean? How
organic.
do you measure adoption?
So the number of users coming in and starting their workspace on Web. So we're finding very good traction in the Web3 space because that's how the work happens in Web3. Web3 products are built as communities. Uh, and BIP enables collaborating in a community. So what is BIP is, think of BIP as a Notion
Well,
workspace.
funny. Sorry, I don't want to go back. We've
Yeah.
explained the product already, so we'll go
Okay.
back to that in a second. But I want to go
Yeah.
back to this adoption concept. You say you measure adoption based off number of users coming in and starting their own workspace. So in the past 30
Yes.
days in September, how many new users have come in?
Yeah. We have about 100 workspaces created in the
And
last month.
is it a one-to-one ratio of a workspace to a person, or do you have thousands of people in those 100 workspaces?
Yeah. We have thousands of people in a workspace.
Okay, so a
Yeah.
hundred workspaces were created just in September.
Yes.
Amazing. And how many total
Yeah.
workspaces created to date?
So totally, we have about 3,000 workspaces. But I would say that we have a retention of about 10%. So out of this 100, we'd expect 10 of them to be very active going forward.
Oh, what's going on there, YouTube? Good to see you guys. Now imagine this. You love watching these interviews with SaaS founders, but imagine if we took all of the valuation data out from over 2,807 interviews I've done manually. Saves you a lot of time. Well, we've done this. We've built it into the beautiful interface inside of FounderPath. Check this out. I'll show you how you can access this in a second, but you log in, you connect your Stripe account, you see your valuation real time, you can see what it changed over the past 88 days, and even set goals for valuation this year. Now, the secret valuation is there's many different ways to value a SaaS business. So the reason you're going to see 3 or 4 different valuations inside of your Founder Path dashboard, this is all free by the way, is because depending on who's doing the buying of your SaaS company, you're going to get a different valuation. A VC is going to pay a different valuation. Private equity firm is different. If you're going to do a minority sale, that's different. And if you sell the whole business, that's a different valuation. You can see all those when I hover over here. Right. So the teal is what a VC would pay. Yellow is what private equity. And red is if you sold the whole thing outright. Now, what's cool about this is not built off random data. Again, you guys hear these interviews on YouTube. All these data are built from real-time valuation data points founders share with us on the show. So traction, 1.2 million, seed round, 3.7 raise. They sold 22% of their business. Go in here and filter by the event. Maybe you only want to see companies that have sold the whole business. Well, here are a bunch that have been acquired, the valuation and the multiple. Maybe you're going out right now and you're raising your seed round. Well, go in here and look at all this recent seed deals that went down, what they raised, what valuation they raised at, and what percent that they sold. There's never been a larger data set of SaaS valuations than what you can get now inside of Founder Path, and we're thrilled to bring it to you. All right, we're going to go back to the YouTube video here in a second, but if you want to check this tool out, if you want to jump in and sign up, you can check it out for free to get your valuation at this link, founderpath.com/products/valuations. Or if you go to founderpath.com and hover over products, click on get your valuation here and go ahead and sign up to give it a whirl. Again, all that valuation data live right inside the platform. I hope to see you there. All right, let's jump back into the interview. How do you define very active?
So they shift all of their workspace from another tool like a Notion or Google Docs onto BIP. So BIP becomes their primary source of truth.
Yeah, but
So
how do you
all
measure
their
that? How do you know if someone is using it as their primary source?
so
Is
we
it
talk
number of
to
documents
customers.
moved over?
Yeah, number of documents, activity, and we also talk to customers because it's a small number. We
Well, but
talk to them,
you
and
don't have customers yet, so there's no customers to talk to. But you're talking to
okay,
users who are signing up. My question is, a lot of
yes.
times people will think activation is tied to one metric, and then they learn, you know what? Actually, our users are using us in a totally different way. Our activation metric should be this other thing. So why do you believe your activation metric is number of documents moved over from Google Drive to BIP?
It's not the number of documents. We look at it as BIP becoming their primary
Yeah, but Phani,
place
how do you
of
measure that?
documents.
Primary, that's not a number. How do you measure something becoming the primary workspace?
Yeah, so they create documents here, the new documents. See, earlier they would have document in a Google Drive, and from there they would copy and paste here. But they stop creating on Google Drive. They start creating only on BIP.
How do you know they stopped creating on Google Drive?
Yeah, because there's a continuous creation of documents. So they create maybe 1 2 documents a week, and we also talk to such customers. I mean, such users who are creating that,
Yeah,
and
but someone
we
could
learn
create
from
one to
them.
two documents per week on BIP and still be creating 10 documents per week on Google
Yeah,
Drive. How do you know if they've stopped using Google Drive or not?
yeah, we talk to them. We talk to
You've talked to
those
all
users.
3,000 workspaces.
No, no, out of which maybe 300 is what we talk to, because as we see that they're using repeatedly, that's where we engage with them.
Okay, but by repeated usage, what you mean is they're creating at least one document per week for many weeks. Is that like what is that
Correct.
metric?
Yeah. Yeah,
Is that it?
1 or 2 documents is what they create per week. And then we talk to such engaged users and we learn that this is their primary workspace now.
Okay,
BIP is
so
the
got it.
primary
So you're
workspace. Yeah.
when you say that you signed up 100 new folks in September workspaces and you believe that you have 10% retention, 10% will be very active. Your definition of very active is they create 1 to 2 documents per week for at least what, 3 or 4 weeks. Is that accurate?
Yes. And this
Okay,
becoming their permanent workspace. Yeah, true.
interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, and so how do what when you look at your power users, what your the user that created the most documents over the past 3 days, how many documents did that workspace create?
Okay. So what happens is initially, when I think document creation lifecycle is also it is front ended. So, for example, one of our active users probably has like 300 documents, but most of them are created in their first like 6 months of usage, and because that's when they're ideating. When they create a new product, they're ideating, they're creating marketing plans, they're creating product PRDs and etc. and all that. But over time, it reduces a bit, and then the task management thing takes off, the Kanban boards and etc. and all that. That is almost a daily repetitive
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Okay, so your most active account has created 300 documents in their workspace.
Yeah, usually about 200. Yeah, true. Yeah,
Well,
true.
what do you mean? What do you mean usually 200? I'm just saying your most active account has 300 documents created.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Okay, okay. The reason I'm
yeah.
asking is when do you ask? That's your power user. If anyone's going to pay, it's that user. When do you start talking to them about pricing?
So that we've been postponing, but we can't postpone it for long. Yeah, we need to figure that out soon. The only thing is we are figuring out if there is an innovative way to price. We know that it's not going to be per seat per user because each community is large. But we are thinking on one direction. We're thinking, okay, if there is bounties, because we cater to Web3 communities and there are bounties. So we're thinking, hey, can we take a percentage of that bounty that is placed using BIP? So that
Mm-hmm.
is one thing that we are exploring, and hence we have not really jumped in into pricing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Well, what if you launch this though, and this most active customer says, "I'm not willing to pay that"?
then it's bad luck. Then we need to figure it out
Yeah, but
again.
that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Is like, why are you waiting? I just don't understand. Why are you waiting so long? You've already put $200,000 of your own money in this thing. What's taking so long to figure out if people are willing to pay for it?
yeah. I think we need to try that out soon. Yeah,
No,
I
no, no.
agree with you. Yeah.
I'm not asking you to agree with me. I'm just asking what's the business reason that you haven't brought that pricing question up yet? There's a reason you haven't.
Yeah, so the reason is this. I mean, we I mean, until now we've only been building product. We're always falling short of bandwidth to build product. So it just needs bandwidth. I think it's the bandwidth problem. And
Why
we
do you, is
told
it a
ourselves
bandwidth
that,
problem though? I mean, you're working on this full time, right?
yeah, I and we are 10 of us working on this full time. But there are all these other features that we need to build. We need to get feature parity with let's say Notion, because our customers move from Notion and they ask these feature parity and etc. So we'll spending a lot of time on the product.
Yeah, but
But
how do
yeah,
you
we should
balance that?
also.
If you wait to launch pricing until you match Notion's product, you're never gonna, I mean, you're never gonna catch up because Notion has more engineers than you do.
Yeah, that's true. But at least the major features. I mean, I can't say we'll have all the features, but the major ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
I
my
agree. I
thing with
mean,
this space is like there's the closest comp to this is Smart Suite, right? I'm close with John, and he said, Nathan, we can't launch until we have all the features that ClickUp has, which is kind of in the same space that you're in. Well, Phani, he spent $1.5 million of his own money on the MVP, right? Before he launched pricing. He spent another 6 million of his own money before he had his first customer. So like, are you ready to spend 7.5 million bucks to keep chasing feature parity with Notion before you have your first paying customer?
mm, yeah. No, no. I think no. I think we'll hurry up. We have to do that. Yeah.
So okay, so you already have an inclination that you might price around a bug bounty, like basically a percent of the bounty. What do you? How does this user respond when you pitch that to them?
See, right now, basically, most of our users are Web3 users, and they pay using their own tokens,
Yeah, out of the treasury,
their
right?
project tokens, and they're generous with those tokens because they mint their own tokens. So they're fine to pay as a percentage of their tokens. But we have to think, how do we convert the tokens into USD soon, and at what value, and things like that. So it is a little more involved thought process. And I think that's one of the reasons why we have not jumped into pricing yet.
Well, how do you though deal with the volatility in crypto markets? I mean, everyone's treasuries today,
Yeah,
if they're tied to fiat, they're way down, 80-90%. No one wants to give out bounties right now because it's extremely expensive. It's dilutive long term in terms of the total token pool. So,
yeah.
I mean, is this just a thing where you don't have a real business
No,
until crypto takes off again?
no. We can. So basically, when the token price goes down, I mean, we will peg our price on their USD. I mean, it's just that they have to pay more tokens. to catch up with that pricing. And for us to de-risk ourselves from the volatility, we need to convert the tokens into USD quickly enough. But we need to figure out that whole thing before we jump into that side. But these Web3 customers, because they're moving from Notion, they're also equally okay to pay a SaaS pricing. But they would love if it's a tokenized thing, because there's utility for their token and things like that.
I understand, but back to my
Yeah.
question, right? Let's say there's token X, right? A company that you're selling to is token X, right? And they've got a treasury with 1,000 tokens in it, right? And they need an engineer to do some work, and they need to pay that engineer for 1 hour, and that engineer charges $100 an hour, right? For $100, they used to be able to just give him 2 tokens as the bounty. Well, now with everything devalued, they have to give him 20 tokens for the same hour of work, the same $100. 20 tokens out of the total 1,000 available is way more dilutive than 2 tokens out of the total 1,000 available. That's what I mean. How do you deal with volatility in the crypto markets like this? No one's going to want to issue tokens like this right now because it's very dilutive.
Yeah. But I think, I mean, at least the conversations that we've had, people are okay to give the 20 tokens because they mint their own tokens.
Yeah, but it's just like the federal government printing its own money. Then you have inflation. You can make a bunch of tokens you want, but it's going to devalue the token. The market's going to go, they're just going to keep making their own tokens. This token's bullshit.
Yeah, but that's a compulsion. I mean, even the non-Web3 companies, right? I mean, today, given the funding winter, they're all diluting more. For the same $5 million, they have to dilute more. So it's not that it is different in Web2. So it's a cost that everybody is paying today.
Well, no, I mean, Web 2, they're using other sources of capital. There's debt, right? There's no version of debt for crypto.
But
not
the
that I
debt
know of.
in this market will also be expensive.
Well, no,
right?
it's not. I mean, I run a $150 million debt fund, so I'm pretty familiar with the pricing, and I can tell you it's relative to the equity dilution, it's not bad at all. I don't know that same instrument exists for Web3 treasuries. I don't think treasuries have a backstop, right? There's no debt. You can't take debt out against your treasury. From what, at least I don't know. Maybe you know something that I don't.
Yeah, in this market, I mean, all those fancy things have stopped. It is.
That's what I'm trying to get to, though. Why tie your price?
Yeah.
Why tie your pricing to something that is so volatile? Why not just charge a SaaS fee and be done with it?
Yeah, that's an option, but yeah, we also want to figure out if there's an innovative way. Innovative way. Yeah. I mean, the human thing is all about making progress that way, right? I mean, take a chance and see if that works. But that is one part of our business. I mean, BIP stands for Build in Public. We did not build this for Web3. It's just that actually we built it as a workspace for people who are building in public, because people are building in public. Our assumption is, our hypothesis is that people who are building in public also want to expose their workspace so that people who are following them have full context of that project. So that's how we started building social workspaces. But while we are building and showing it to the build in public, we found good traction in DAOs. In the last 15 months, I mean, DAOs and Web3 was big. So we saw initial traction there. So most of our customers now happen to be from Web3.
But you don't have any customers yet. I don't want to use the word customers because it misguides my audience. You are trying to figure out how to get people to pay for what you've built, something you've already sunk $200,000 of your own money in.
Yeah, we can say so. Yeah, that's true.
All right. Well, listen, we're rooting for you. I'm pushing you hard here because I want to see you make a lot of money. But in the meantime,
do that. We need that. I mean, if you raise capital, we'd have VCs do that. But
yeah. All right. In the meantime, let's wrap up here with the famous 5. Number 1, favorite business book.
It's Atlas Shrugged.
Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
Yeah, it's Girish of Freshworks.
Yep, good guy. Number 3, what's your favorite online tool for building BIP besides your own?
Okay, Figma.
Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
I get 7 hours.
That's good. And what's your situation? Married, single, kids?
I'm married, 2 kids.
2 kids, very good. And how old are you?
I'm 42.
42. Last question. Something you wish you knew when you were 20.
That marketing and sales is as important as innovation. My previous startup was an innovation, and we got a lot of word of mouth. But yeah, I wish. I mean, I would have built a lot of expertise in sales and marketing if I knew this in 20s.
Guys, there you have it. Bip.so started building about a year ago. They've got 3,000 workplaces created. About 10% of them are active, which means they're creating documents every week. Bip is a workspace for communities, specifically focused on DAOs early on, but really for any communities that are building in public. They're burning $20,000 per month right now. Phani's put in over almost $200,000 of his own money, hoping to get pricing figured out here in the next couple of months so they can start building that monthly recurring revenue. Phani, thanks for taking us to the top.
Thanks, Nathan. Thank you so much.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.